episode of the This Is Metal show. And today our special guest is guitarist Donny Watrous. Now, many of you might not have heard of Donny, but we're having him on because I think he's a very talented guitar player. He's got a unique story, and I want to shed some light on him because he really deserves to be heard. How you doing today, Donny?
Doing very well. And man, things are just going really well lately, I guess. So yeah, I got a lot of things happening. Got this cool new guitar.
I love that. And you know, you were very hands-on with everything about your career, from you know, the merchandise, how the records are sold, even designing your guitars. I dig that about you. So talk about why you were so hands-on.
Well, my regular job, if you will, be outside of the musician stuff. I do electrical design and engineering. And before I did that, I was a mechanical designer. So, you know, designing stuff is what I've been doing for like over 23, 24 years now. And so I think that's got a lot to do with it. And I love creating my own stuff, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's why I came up with the idea with the guitar, the new guitar that I have, and well, even the kind of music that I do, you know.
Yeah, and you know, Donny, I was also sharing with you as we're prepping for today's interview online. I was telling you, the fact that you're an electrical engineer, and you shared with me during the last interview you did with me, that you design roller coasters, he'll put them together. I said, it'd be a cool idea, Donny, kind of like an autobiographical thing to create like a song or maybe even a album based around like roller coaster, like music that you listen to like at a carnival or when you go to an amusement park or something. It'd be totally, autobiographical. And that's not something that I think any other guitar players really even created. And I thought of it because when we were talking also last time, talking about your last album, Second Gear, and listening to it, I'm like, this has a NASCAR kind of like sound to
Vibe.
it, like music you listen to if you were at NASCAR or something. And you told me it's funny you say that because that's kind of the vibe I was going for.
Yeah, right. I mean, if we go all the way back to the first album, which was called Trial and Error, it really was, because I've never recorded before. I only had a couple years experience playing lead guitar. So I called it Trial and Error because literally it was just that. It was a trial and it was an error. Just try different things, see what works, see what doesn't work. And then plugging into Second Gear here, I called it that for two reasons. Number one, my skill levels increased. So, it's literally like shifting into second gear and saying, okay, now I'm going with that. And also, like you said, with that NASCAR vibe and everything like that, it does have that like the music on that album. I wanted to have that feel like, okay, I want to play this music as I'm driving somewhere,
Yeah, summertime.
Yeah, going down the interstate, whatever. So you have that feel like that. Well, the title track, Second Gear, it actually is that. I like if you actually, put that song on and you just go for a drive, man. It's like, you just kind of get lost in it.
It got me in the mood, and then I just listened to the rest of the tracks on the album, and you killed it all the way. Now, like I said, I've interviewed you a few times for Donny, so I know Tom's got a few questions. I'll let him take it away.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Donny. Hey, man. Hey, I listened to your album today. It's very cool. I listened to all your older stuff. Are you playing all the instruments? Are you bringing musicians in there? Are you using drum machines? How are you doing this? I'm curious.
Okay, the first two albums, Second Gear and Trial and Error, everything. Well, first of all, everything is live instruments. There's no drum tracks. There's nothing like that. I have a friend who runs the studio locally here. His name's Mike Chauncey, and he pretty much play any instrument on the planet. And so I play the guitar, and he's played some of the guitar as well because he likes to play, so me and him are guitar. Then he's on the first two albums, he played drums. And of course, he played the bass as well. And actually, playing bass is similar to rhythm guitar, and I'm sure you know that as a guitarist. So some of the songs I played bass myself. It's pretty basic stuff. But he's, like I said, he's a true musician. That's why he has a studio. He's also a worship leader at my church. So yeah, so that's kind of how I know him. And so it's like, so all the so everything you're hearing is me and him, as far as how it was recorded and all the instruments and everything like that. And then with the new album, uh again, he's playing guitar and bass, I'm playing the guitar, and then I have a new drummer, which is Casey Grillo from Queensryche.
Nice, excellent, excellent. So let me ask you about the song Retribution.
Okay,
I,
first
I,
album. Okay.
I like that tune, though. It's a little bit different. It was kind of very catchy, and I liked it. What was the inspiration for that?
Well, it's more of a spiritual type thing, if you will.
Mhm. Sure.
The idea was, you know what retribution is, right? And it's
Absolutely,
kind of like,
absolutely.
asking
That's why I'm
forgiveness and
asking.
everything. Yeah, and it was kind of, that was how I was when I wrote that song. It was kind of more of a, I wanted to do something that, like puts life in perspective. All
Sure.
right, so if you do things that are all messed up and you're trying to get your life together and everything. So it was kind of on that line on how on exactly that, just I wrote this thing, and it's like, it's like I wanted to have that vibe, like, it's like I'm forgiving, or I'm forgiven,
Sure.
and I'm forgiving other people, and and I'm moving on with my life, and I'm doing wonderful things, and and I don't care what.
That's what I got from it. That's what I thought. That's why I was asking that. It just felt like a forgiveness song. You could just, I don't know, it was very spiritual. It felt spiritual to me when I listened to it.
Yeah, and that was the idea. And if you look at the tracks on that, the next title track after that is Ascension, which is,
Yes, I
being
listened to that
lifted,
too.
and that's
Yeah,
it. It's being
yeah,
lifted up. It's after your your time of repenting, and then all that stuff. Now
sure,
it's time to be
absolutely.
lifted up and move on with your life, and just do wonderful things. And if you can, help other people out,
Yeah,
and that was the vibe for that.
yeah.
And
That's
then
what I kind of
you
got from your whole album. Go ahead,
I was
Jason.
going to ask him. Yeah, he also shared with me last time I interviewed him. One of your songs, Trinity, actually charted in Japan. Talk a little bit about that. Do you remember how high it charted, and what was that like? Because it's got to be a unique feeling that, well, these other people in Japan, they really get it,
Right, exactly. And that song is an acoustic song. First of all, it's not like my typical rock song. And on the new album, I'm going to have another acoustic song, which I've actually played for a few people, and it's and they're kind of digging it. So, and it's, again, with the new album is going to be even more next level from Second Gear. But going back to Trinity there, yeah, when it came out, and I first partnered with Pavement Entertainment, naturally they
Wow.
got my music out there. And what happened is, in Japan, the song Trinity, I don't know what it is about acoustic music, but even now it's still on the charts. But in Japan, I think it rose to I think it got a number one in
Wow.
for
Wow.
like a week or two over there. And I was like, wow, I was really shocked to see that. And then it kind of like, after that, it kind of like went, it kind of dropped, and then I never heard anything back after that, up until about, oh gosh, it's been about a month now. And then I'm on with the Spotify charts and everything like that. They, the company that runs the charts for
Yeah.
Spotify sends me an email, says, congratulations, your number at the time, at first it was like number 36. And I was
Amazing.
like,
Amazing.
out of 100, yeah, out your top 50. And I'm like, nice. So, and then over the past month, it's peaked to number 24, I think, is as high as I've seen it climb on the Spotify charts. And I checked it today, and it was like number 31, I think.
Wow. So when you see a song chart like that, and you're working on a new album as you are, does it like kind of lead you to think, well, okay, people like that type of song. Maybe I need to do something else like that, or does it just depend on what you're working on at the time?
A little bit of both, actually.
Yeah.
Because I do like to see, I like to think about, well, what do people like? What's it's, and for me, it's not about money or anything like that.
No,
Trust me,
no.
it's not about money. but I would like to, like, release something that other people are going to really enjoy and get into.
Yeah.
but at the same time, I don't want to do an all acoustic album. You know,
No. You know, Donny, and part of the reason I invite you on our show is getting a lot of traction. And so I'm reaching out to some of our friends and people I've interviewed in the past that I think deserve to kind of tell their story. And you got a great story to tell in the sense that I remember the first time I interviewed you, you shared with me, you know, I just kind of started recording this music during COVID. I've only been playing guitar for 8 or 9 years, self-taught. To listen to the music, first of all, you sound like a guy that's played in bands all his life. You didn't have the typical story of playing in clubs for many, many years. And you had a song that's charted in Japan and it's charted on Spotify. You work with people like Pavement Entertainment, which is a great little label. What I love about them is they got a great roster of artists. And
oh yeah, they do.
So for a guy that's kind of not that experienced, you're getting a lot of great exposure, I think, and it speaks volumes, deservingly so, because of your talent, I think.
I would like to think so. I mean, but you know, in my opinion now, you know, maybe I rag on myself too much, but you know, I mean, there's a million other guitarists way better than I am, you know, but I don't consider myself Yngwie Malmsteen either.
No. I mean, maybe so, but I mean, even to the point, I think that you played shows with bands like the Midnight Devils. I mean, that's you know, I know you played with other bands, but that's just one that comes to mind. But that's not just opening for, you know, Joe Schmo.
Yeah, that's true. You know, exactly. And you know, they're actually, speaking of Pavement, they're on Pavement's roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're with them and they're working on new stuff too. And but yeah, it's kind of like you know, getting to meet all these people. It's like really cool. You know, through the Midnight Devils, I've met Chip Z'Nuff from Enough's Enough. You know, I've met Dragon Force, I've met Firewind, Gus G from Firewind. I mean,
wow,
so you know,
making connections, my friend.
Oh, I've been making since last time we talked. I probably made about 10 good new connections that are like major. In September, I'm going out to Atlanta to hang out with, excuse me, at the Prog Power concert, Prog Power USA. So I'll be hanging out with Darkwater. Henrik is a friend of mine, and actually Henrik from Darkwater has been kind of a mentor to me because every time I record something new, I'll send it to him because, you know, I want somebody on that level. I want their opinion, you know, maybe, you know, what can I do, make it sound better, you know, and so he's been giving me all this advice and he's been a blessing to me. I mean, this guy's awesome. I don't know if you've ever talked to him or not, but
no. And I think, Donny, that's part of the reason you're having the little bit of success you had because, you know, I can tell you, Tom, I can attest to this, that since the first time I interviewed Donny, me and him have been friends on Facebook. And from time to time, you know, not only has he reached out and, you know, thanked me for interviewing him in the past, but he'll just reach out to me to say hi. He'll say, how you doing? Yeah, I'm working on a new album. Would it be all right if I send you one of my tunes I'm working on? I'd like to get your opinion on it. And it's we've developed that kind of friendship. That's why I wanted to kind of bring him on today. And so I really appreciate that about him. So take it away, Tom. I'm sure you have a few more questions for him.
Yeah, I do. So who are some of your influences? When you said like Yngwie Malmsteen, I had to laugh because we just signed Yngwie Singer to a record and his record's coming out next in 2 months. Next new record's coming out. But do you know Ethan Broth? Anybody? Ethan Brosh? Those guys? They're all.
I know of him. I've never met him or anything, but yeah, I know who he is.
Great. He's another instrumental guy. Great guy. He's a friend of mine. I've toured with Ethan and everything. But so who really influenced you into going into the instrumental end of it?
Actually, one of my huge, most, of course, you know, you probably hear this name a million times, Satriani.
Of course,
you know,
yep.
I'm a huge Satriani fan. So that's
met Joe Satriani, Stevie Vai, all those guys. I know all those guys.
Yeah. I never met Steve Vai, and I've loved to meet Satriani. Same thing with Petrucci, you know, him, you know, so I'm a big
met him too. Yep.
I met yeah. So it's funny because I play guitar and I'm meeting all these drummers. So it's kind of weird, you know.
I started off as a drummer and became a guitar player singer.
Oh, really?
I'm self-taught too myself. I taught myself drums, got bored with drums, picked up the guitar and started playing guitar. Then we lost our singer, so I became the lead singer. And then I brought Ripper Owens in to sing with me, and I had Joe Lynn Turner singing with me for a while. So yeah, so I know exactly.
Joe Lynn Turner, wow.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I talked to Joe about once every few months.
Yeah. In fact, Donny, you know, you'd sent us a couple of your new songs you're working on for your new album. One of them was called Rising Higher. And this is what this is what I wrote. I said, love the guitar riffs, flashback to the 80s rock scene, Satriani-ish. I could hear that influence in the music. It's a combination of what I will call summertime feel-good hard rock, and that NASCAR sound that, Donny, you seem to have mastered on your Second Gear album so well.
Okay, yeah. Well, Rising Higher is actually the latest track that I've recorded. I just did that last week, and I'm still tweaking the sound on it because some of the leads sound a little
But
weird.
it's so funny that you say about the Satriani influence. That was, I immediately could hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my tone that I use is, is a Satriani-ish esque sound, if you will, on my pedal board that I use, and so for my leads. So, I mean, I love his sound, I love his tones, so I try to be similar to that without being
Ripping it off.
100%
Yeah,
duplicate.
I mean, everybody does that. I mean, we all got our influences, right?
Right. But growing up in the '80s, so I was born in '68, so I'm starting to get up there. But yeah, growing up in the '80s, so I'm a huge '80s rock metal fan. Dokken. I grew up to Dokken, Scorpions, all those,
Sure.
Rad, all those
Yeah.
all those classic bands. So what I'm doing is I want to have that feel. I want people to say, man, that reminds me of like 1980s, but I want to have a modern spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
So and everybody's like, how come you don't put words to your stuff? And I'm like, well, two reasons.
Yeah,
Number
see,
one, I don't want to open up Pandora's box. See, once you start putting words, then you got groups coming at you. Well, why are you singing about that? What do you mean by this?
yeah.
This offensive to this group or this, so you never win. It's never a win. So when you're instrumental, it kind of just opens up that, I mean, either people like it or they don't like it.
Yeah.
But so I figured that a lot of people, like if you go to a Satriani concert, there's a lot of people there, it's like,
Sure.
and so no matter what group it's played to, it's, as long as you like that style of music, there's nothing offensive about
See,
it.
this is the thing to me, Donny. I'm guilty of this. Typically, when I listen to new music, I typically do listen to music with vocals because I typically try to immediately think, what is the guy singing about? What's the song about? Interestingly enough, that's why I do think it's typically a little more difficult for people to get into instrumental music. But here's the thing. I think when you're doing instrumental music, if you're a writer, a creator, it allows you a lot more freedom to kind of, you don't have to really worry about writing along to the words like you said. It's more about the emotion you feel. And I think a lot of times guys were into showing how flashy they could be. And we used to back in the day get these albums full of guys showing how fast they could shred. That's not what this is. It's very tasteful music.
Right.
And I think it's very much like your ego. You're not trying to show off. You're just saying, this is what I can do. If you like it, great.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, okay, you're right. I'm not trying to be the world's fastest guitar player because everybody else out there, I don't want to be put in that box. There's a box, everybody wants to be put into this
You're
box.
And you want to stay there. Yeah.
Yeah, me, I'm trying to be outside the box. I want to be more creative and melodic, more melodies, more creativity and more originality
That's why I
than
think
sit there.
Works. And another song you sent us that you're working on, Beyond This Life. Now the title to me sounds interesting. When I hear the title, I'm like, well, okay, is he thinking what's ahead in the future? What's going to happen when he goes to another world, passes on? What's beyond this? But again, now this is what I wrote. Definitely in the 80s rock style. Takes me back to the days of the 80s guitar god, very Van Halen-ish. Now, what I mean, do you remember back in the 80s where every band had to have a guitar god? Rat had Warren DeMartini and
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, Carlos Cavavos from
but I miss those days, and I'll tell you because you remember when the 90s hit and that stuff was no longer popular, was dying out, and all these new metal bands came like Limp Bizkit. Hey man, we don't need guitar solos. What the F is that?
Oh my gosh, you're so right, because since Nirvana, if you listen to every that that style, what they call alternative or whatever they call, every alternative band, whether it be Bush or Nirvana or Pearl Jam or any of them, nobody, not one band has a has a
Flashy.
guitar solo.
Yeah.
There's always Emo White Snake and all that. About three-quarters of the way song, there's a guitar solo for like 30 seconds or 45 seconds, and it gets back into the song. With the alternative stuff, it was just power chords and
I
and
mean,
this
you want like classic Guitar Hero, go back to 1984, Raft's Alba Stellar album, Round and Round, that solo Warren DeMartini did all
oh
through the song.
yeah.
It just sticks in your head.
Yeah. I mean, Warren DeMartini was probably one of the best guitarists of his time. Probably underrated, but him, George Lynch, it was those guys, and who was the other one back in the '80s? Well, Paul Gilbert, he was with Racer X at the time.
Yep.
Let me tell
So
you,
he
Paul
was
Gilbert, if you get a chance, he recently put out last year what he called a Dio album. It covers a Dio
saw
songs
it.
through Ronnie's entire career, from Sabbath, Rainbow, and Dio. And it's interesting because there's no vocals on his versions of these songs, and yet you can almost hear Ronnie singing the vocal. They're just guitar versions of the songs, and yet I loved it. It's because it's a different take on these songs.
Right. And yeah, exactly. And if somebody could come in and take classic music and do their own little thing on it without going over the top, I think it's wonderful. I think it's great. I love
I
that
mean,
stuff.
it almost reminds me of when Van Halen did the classic Kings cover of "You Really Got Me." I mean,
Yep.
people our age, when you hear that song, you're convinced it's a Van Halen song. I mean, yeah, I realize the Kings did it before, but I mean, that's how well they own that song, if you know what I mean.
Right, exactly. And yeah, it was just yeah. I mean, well, Eddie Van Halen, he was a
He's a king,
master.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was a master at what he did. I mean, and what gets me is reading. I recently went back and read his story, if you will, and how he got started. I mean, he didn't have the special, he didn't have all the effects and the crazy amps. I mean, the stuff he did, he did himself, and I think he said he got electrocuted or something trying to up his amp or something. But
I mean,
yeah, so
his brother Alex started out as a guitar player. He started out as a drummer, and then they switched.
yeah, and they switched. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So it's stories like that that kind of like, it's hilarious
Yeah.
because you think you're going one direction and then you just go totally different.
Yeah.
And then
And Tom, let me ask you: when you listen to Donny's music, being a guitar player yourself, how do you approach listening to instrumental music?
Well, the first thing I do is I want to feel it. And he's got a really cool feel to it. And I like that because they say I'm a big Satriani. And when I met Stevie Vai and got to hang out with him, I actually played in front of him, come off the stage, and Stevie Vai shakes my hand and says, "I love your guitar tone." I'm like,
Thank you,
get
man.
a picture with me right now, but so when I hear that stuff, I really like it a lot. And I mean, I've been around some of the great guitar players, and you've got a lot going for you. I love that you're doing your own original stuff. That's really important. Ethan Brosh he's made a living off from that. Ethan's toured all over. I've toured with him. You just got to keep going and hang in there, and good things will happen if you follow your own. I set a course for my band, and actually I was able to do exactly what I wanted to. I played all the shows I wanted, Billboard charted, I've done everything, Grammys, all that stuff, because I never gave up. When people said, "Oh, you should be playing cover songs," I was like, no, I'm going to play my own music, write my own stuff. Cancel Culture went after me 2 years ago for a song, "Be a Man," and a song called "Your Eyes." And I told them they could kiss my butt, but I didn't say butt.
He's still here.
On a TV show, they were trying to go after me and Ripper Owens. And I said to them, they wanted me to apologize for the song "Be a Man." And I said, the only thing I can apologize to you for is I didn't tell Cancel Culture to kiss my ass sooner. And I got
All right. Yeah, I love that.
and yeah, exactly. Now,
it's just nonsense. Go ahead.
Right, exactly. I agree with you, Tom. I agree with you 100%. When because everybody's like, well, you should be doing. I mean, I get that. I mean, I'm not even well known yet, and but I think after this new album comes out, I will be. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, I got people coming after me. Telling me they're not even musicians telling me what I need to be doing. I'm
Sure
like,
they
no,
do. Yeah, I know.
you know, it's
Just
like
stay
all
your
I need
course.
to be doing is breathing and paying taxes. That's it, you know.
Absolutely.
So Donny,
Absolutely.
on the note of the new album, do you have a projected release date for that?
I'm shooting now. Okay, let me tell you where it's at, first of all. So 6 of the songs are 100% ready to rock and roll. I mean, they're mixed, they're you know, they're mastered pretty much, and they're ready to actually be thrown out there. So the only thing I got left to do is do the final mix and all that on the new song which I sent you, which was the Rising Higher, and then I got to write one more song which I'm planning on doing, you know, in the next month or a month and a
Sure,
half,
sure.
whatever. And then you know, as soon as I get some inspiration again. And then I got to get the drummer, which is Casey, to come in with. Now, right now he's on tour with Queens.
With Queens, right?
That's right. You know,
Yeah.
that guy's awesome, man. He's like one of the coolest guys. I don't know if you've ever talked to him or met him or anything.
No, but I would like to have you come back on the show when he's available to come with you.
Yeah. So he's off tour. I think the end of May is when this Origins tour ends,
Okay.
and I think he's got a few shows over the summer. But now going back to a release date for my new album, I'm thinking probably if everything goes well and everything goes right, I'm thinking September.
Cool.
So it'll be like, yeah, early fall. The original plan was to get it out like this month in May.
There's no rush.
Yeah, well, number 2 things happened. Number 1, Casey ended up going on tour, so that put a
Damper.
slow damper on things. And then of course, you know, I didn't have all the songs written yet, so like I said, I still need to write one more. So I'm kind of debating, do I want to like rock your face off, or do I want to kind of mellow back? And so I got to go through what I've already got and see what and then see what would be the best fit.
And do you think we might get one music video at least? Because I tell you, the last music video, you killed it, man.
Which music on the Second Gear?
Yeah, Second Gear.
That music video? Yeah, I'm actually, what I want to do is I want to like get somebody to record me actually playing the song, and that way I can incorporate myself playing into the video well as what, you know, like all the other stuff I got going on. So cool. Yeah, I am planning on doing that. Hopefully over the summer I can get somebody to record me and all that good stuff, and then I'll put a video together and then get it out there.
Well, I can't believe it's time to wrap up the show, Don. But let me tell you, Tom and I really enjoyed having you on the show today. And before we do wrap it up, we got a couple of shows that are already in the can. We got to post first. I think this will be going up on May 7th. When I know that for sure, I'll let you know. And feel free to share it. Anything else you'd like to say, Tom, before we wrap it up for today?
No, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Very happy for you. I love when people follow their dreams and don't give up. Don't listen to what these other people tell you. Because I would have been nowhere if I ever did that, you know.
And you know, you made it this far, and that's pretty far, my friend.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So
keep doing it, Donny.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I appreciate you.
Take care, brother. Bye-bye.
We'll see you, buddy.
Hey,
Damien here. If you like today's show, please be sure to subscribe by clicking the link in the lower right-hand corner or on our page. Thanks for tuning in.